I am so excited for yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation and a new friend, Tomás. Welcome to the show. I'm so grateful that you're here today.
Well, thank you, Cindy. This is fun, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. I saw some of your stuff on social media. We've never met before, but it just resonated with me, and I thought, you got to be on the show. So here you are.
No, I love it. This is fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love
Mhm.
it. So before we came live, I was sharing a little bit about your numerology, which you were very open to. Thank you for that. And
Mhm.
I'm curious, what was one of the biggest takeaways that I shared with you that was like that, aha, yeah, that's me.
Yes, the need for variety and
Mm,
balanced structure, and as you put it, in the appropriate moments, not
yes.
too structured.
Not
I
too
think
structured.
that's, yeah. Any entrepreneur has a rebellious streak, right? Hence, I mean, Rebel Radio is actually quite perfect for a title because we don't want to do things just because someone says so. So
Yeah.
it's a balance. I found that to be a real balance in my own life is having some structure. I find that I crave it, and then I also find that I despise it sometimes, honestly.
A little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And just sprinkling in the discipline where it matters and then being a total rebel the rest of the time, right?
Mhm.
I love it.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and who you're here to serve.
All right. Well, I am a spiritual coach and teacher, and this is really the only thing that's ever really hit home with me in my life. I've had a lot of different careers, multiple career lives. I just turned 50, which these days means you've done millions of different things career wise. And what I'm doing now is really my calling. It's showing up and teaching and sharing my experience with people. That's really where my passion lies. And it wasn't until the past year that I really deep down figured out that that's really all that I want to do. And I'm
Mm,
able to drop some fluff as a result of that.
I love that. Drop the fluff and just
Mhm.
streamline, right? See,
Yes.
there's some of that discipline coming in.
Well, I've found in my life that I'm capable of it. I
Hmm.
mean, it's like I can turn it on. It doesn't always bubble right up to the surface
Right.
because there's a kind of oh screw you guys kind of mentality that pops in there, and I'm not doing that. Nah, mm-mm. But I'm able to turn it on,
Yeah.
and I think over time it becomes easier because you recognize
Mhm.
the value of it. At least I did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that discipline comes in a little bit easier. You can turn it on when you're inspired, when you're lit up, when that fire is lit, when you're just like, oh man, I want to create this. And then all of a sudden, discipline isn't even I like to call it blissipline because you're just in it and focused, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. So good. So, what do you desire most in your life personally?
Well, I have really changed a great deal and grown a great deal in the last 2 years. And I'm after continually showing up as love, as my highest and best self, so that I can serve everybody that I'm meant to serve. And it really is as a teacher, and we do that by demonstrating. So, my own growth and practice has been really central. And I've really
Mhm.
noticed a lot of additional depth to that in the last couple of years.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. Just always growing and expanding, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yes.
love that.
That's all about that.
I love it. So this show is all about a conversation for entrepreneurs around unity consciousness. So unity consciousness is a concept that's relatively new in the grand scheme of things.
Mhm.
And I am curious because I think everybody has a different definition for it. What do you believe unity consciousness means?
Okay. Well, I love this because you're right. It's a newer thing. I don't remember
Mhm.
in the 1970s ever hearing about unity consciousness.
Right.
And maybe it was just the people I was hanging around with, my parents and schoolmates and stuff. But yeah, to me, unity consciousness is just it's a statement of truth. Actually,
Mm,
to me, more than a label. And I mean, language itself is symbolic. So we're labeling things. We're getting together and agreeing that something's going to be called a podcast or a microphone or a human being, even.
right.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And unity consciousness to me is a statement of truth. It's an accurate label because there is only oneness. And we need labels, we need titles and things to point to in this world, especially as teachers, as show hosts, that sort of thing. Is our job is to point, and we can't walk the walk for people, but we can sure point out the way. And it's a useful tool. I think unity consciousness is a really useful description.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we just point the way. We can't, I always use the phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right?
For
And I think unity consciousness, because it is this newer concept that we're understanding the label of,
sure.
that we all get to figure out what that means for each other. And, we either drink the water or we don't.
Mhm. Yeah, right, and, we're all stubborn, aren't we?
Just a
Right?
smidge.
Rebels. Yeah, uh-huh. Rebel. I mean, we're all adult learners, so we need to hear things a dozen or
Yeah.
50 dozen different times in different ways, and we need the exact same phraseology hundreds of times,
Yeah.
sometimes before we'll decide to do something about it.
Right.
Yeah, and it would make sense that this is a concept that for some people doesn't land right away. They are going to think, well, "What the hell are you talking about? Unity consciousness? What's that?"
Yeah, yeah. We're just all one. We all belong. All of it belongs. Everything
Mhm.
belongs. Yeah, I love it. So, what rituals or habits do you have in your personal life that help you stay devoted to unity consciousness?
Okay, this is fun. And this is something that I always talk about, and it's a morning routine. So I have a very defined structure. In fact, and it involves getting up in the morning and drinking coffee. So I'm a coffee drinker.
That's
So,
important.
oh yeah, and that's it. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's it. Just drink coffee and you're
That's
good.
all. Drink coffee. Drink more coffee. Yeah, the coffee people sent me. I'm a plant. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Something about that. Yeah, but anyway, I mean that's an important component. Is I get up in the morning and get a nice cup of coffee, and then I sit. And one of the foundational centerpiece parts of my spiritual practice is A Course in Miracles. So I have
Mm,
a
mhm.
copy of the book, and I'm always reading a little bit from that. I journal while I'm meditate. It's about a 2 hour ritual that is absolutely sacrosanct. I don't compromise that except if I'm going to the airport because I've got a 6 a.m. flight or something.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
the only time I'll skip it.
right.
But it really sets the tone for the entire day. And I don't schedule anything before 9 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
because I want that time.
Oh, I love that so much. And it doesn't matter who I speak to, whether they are labeling themselves as spiritual coaches or not. The morning routine is just something that's across the board, something so powerful because we're setting our day up with intention. We're choosing how we want to experience our day. And
Mhm.
I know for myself, it's non negotiable because if I skip it, my day goes to shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, it's really sort of fucked up if you skip it,
It
isn't it?
really is. Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important too, like, we each have different things that we love to do. I don't think that any one person's morning routine is the key to success. I think we need to figure
No.
out what that is for ourselves.
Yeah, and that's I invite everybody to take the time for that, to make the time for that, because we live in a high speed world where everything's available on demand on our cell phone, and now more than ever, it's a time to take a little energetic pause there.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Ugh, I love that so much. And A Course in Miracles, oh my gosh, so good. So
Oh
good.
yeah,
Love
yeah, it's
it.
beautiful.
Yeah. So how do you see your business as a spiritual coach, evolving with this desire for unity consciousness?
Well, A Course in Miracles is a central component of that, and I see it evolving because I think that people collectively are more open to this
Yeah.
concept. Uh, as much as you may be able to make the argument otherwise by reading your social media feed and the news and
Right.
hyperpolarization, especially politically, all of that. I think that by and large, people are much more open to exploring, and they're much more open to what we would consider personal growth or
Yes.
personal transformation. I think that people these days are searching. I mean, they've
Yeah.
always been searching. We've always been searching, but there's a lot more popular consciousness around it. There's more awareness around this deep level of work, and there's more awareness of the need for it than there was 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
it's just we're all appearing at exactly the right time as coaches, as healers, and wherever people watching this, wherever and whatever you do in this arena, we're all appearing at the perfect time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that so much because you're right. It can be really easy to get caught up in the noise that's out there, right?
Mhm.
But because we work in this industry, we are seeing more and more people waking up to there's got to be more than this. And, as much as the last 2 years have been challenging, I think that they have opened us up to that. And I
Yes.
think that that's such a beautiful gift. Such a beautiful gift.
It is, yeah. For all the hardships, there's a lot more of a collective desire that I'm seeing anyway of people wanting to connect in person, the old-fashioned way. Zoom
Right.
is great. Zoom is great. StreamYard is great. Podcasts are beautiful. We're very fortunate to have this technology to communicate with each other, but people are valuing something that has been lost, and that's
Yeah.
spending time with one another, even if it's just
Oh,
a phone call. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, goosebumps. So
Mhm.
good. So good. So,
That's
how do you
good.
see us as entrepreneurs being able to kind of maybe rewrite the patterns or remove old patterns and invite in just a completely new way of creating impact?
We gotta do our own work.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit.
you can't fake
Sorry
it till
about
you
that.
make it anymore.
No, you knew I was gonna say that, huh? I bet. Yeah. Sorry, guys. We've got to do our own work, because everything, this is true of ourselves as much as it's true for someone that's our client or someone that we know or don't know, right? Anybody. Everything that we experience supposedly out there is in fact a reflection of what's going on in here, which makes it imperative that we do our own work, because when we lash out at somebody, we're only lashing out at ourselves. If we're all one, there's no one out there. Similarly, when we extend love, when we extend forgiveness, then we're loving and forgiving ourselves.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's only one. And one doesn't mean 8 billion, actually, at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And, I love that you say, from the inside out, because this is something that I teach with my clients as well. I mean, it's solid science, it's not woo woo magical stuff. Whatever's on the
Yeah.
inside is what's showing up outside. But we look to the outside for our answers. And I think it's so important that we remember, come back in. And something that I say to my clients all the time, if you're making it up all up anyways, you may as well make it really fucking good.
Oh, yeah. And make it fun, for God's sake.
Yeah, have fun,
Yes.
play. That's
Have
what we're
fun.
meant to do. I love it.
Yeah.
I
Have
love
fun and
it.
be a dork. Okay. I give you permission.
Excellent. We
Mhm.
get to be
Yeah.
dorks.
Yes.
Rebels and dorks and numerology junkies. That's what we
Hey,
are over
everything.
here.
It's all good. Yeah.
So another thing that we love to talk about here at Rebel Radio, because in the spiritual coaching industry, I find that there's a real I need to be of service and take care of all of the other humans before I take care of myself. And I am curious, what does wealth mean to you?
Oh, well, it's very broad. Um,
Hmm.
to me, it's so broad that I'm just going to really succinctly sum it up. It's choosing love in the present moment. That's it.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Because if you can choose love, you can have everything.
Yeah, that's it. That's where the action is. It's choosing our light. It's choosing love. It's choosing our purpose, what we're here to do. And as coaches, that's one of the things, of course, that we do is we help point that out to people and encourage them and just give them the tools to walk the path, and they decide whether or not to do that.
Yeah.
But really, wealth. I mean, it's everything. Of course, it's more than simply money. It's more than a roof over your head. It's choosing love, and that is, I mean, it really is. Well,
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love that. I'm going to choose
cool.
to love that definition. So, what is one truth? My guests always laugh when I say one truth that you
Mm.
wish every entrepreneur knew.
Oh,
I stump every one of you.
yeah, that's a really fun question. Just one. Okay, so I imagine people have difficulty naming just one, and well, my response to that is we all have to do our own work. That's
Mm,
where we show up. That's where we guarantee that we're showing up in loving service to people, as if we take care of our own stuff. We deal with our own bullshit
right?
first. Yeah. So we
Yes.
can show up in a more loving, in a more creative space.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. It's the old analogy of when an airplane's going down, put your mask on first,
Mm,
right?
oh, yeah.
It's we have to take care of ourselves first so
Mhm.
that our cup is so full and overflowing that it just pours out to everyone else.
Yeah.
Instead of us giving, 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 giving of ourselves, not taking care of our own bullshit,
Mhm.
and then we're depleted and burnt out and exhausted and broke and suffering.
Right, exactly, and it's also the Buddhist adage of the 3 defects of the vessel that as coaches we
Mhm.
need to be on guard for. We can't have a lid that's closed because nothing can be poured in to us, and we can't pour out, and if there might be a hole in the bottom, which is our
Mhm.
symbolic of our inattention to certain aspects of our lives that we need to forgive, that we need to heal ourselves, and of course the vessel, the jar, could be perfectly intact but full of poison. So
Right.
again, symbolic of our need to clean everything up. Therefore, we can't pour out of that
Yeah.
vessel unless we handle our own, well, our own drama. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I love that analogy. I've never heard that before. That's cool. I like that one. That's good.
Yeah, it's really it's a great visual. No,
Mhm.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. So, with everything that's going on in the world right now, what piece of advice would you give to our audience about how to navigate these changing times?
Mm. Well, I would say a couple of things. One, I would say make time for your own spiritual practice. And if you
Mhm.
don't know what that is, then make time for inquiry so that you discover something that connects to you. Everything in the world, every extant tradition in the world is available at the click of a mouse today. So
Right.
there's no reason not to explore. So if you're searching, keep searching until something lands with you. And if you found something that works for you, delve deeply into
Mhm.
that. And my number one thing to say would be make time for that because you will feel differently. You will show up differently in the world.
Oh, so good. So good. Find what works for you and devote yourself to it. I love
Absolutely.
it. So
Yeah,
good. Tomas, I want to thank you for being on the show. I feel like I could talk to you all day about this stuff.
we could. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
But as always, we end the show with one last question.
Okay.
What do you dream of for the world?
Mm. I dream of everyone taking responsibility. Yeah.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, that's gotta come before the, final unification, the great awakening or enlightenment or joining or whatever you wanna call it in your own tradition. Uh, we gotta take responsibility and own the fact that we are creating our own experience, and we have the ability to choose love or fear in the present moment. That is the only choice that we have. Everything else is a derivative of that. So I wish for all of us that we are willing to take a look in the mirror, so to speak, and take responsibility for
Oh,
our entire experience.
I love that dream. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I love it.